everyone. So today we're going to be continuing chapter 16, section 1, electric charges. In the previous video we stopped here, and today we're going to be talking about the three different ways of charging. Now there are three ways an object can be charged, either by friction, induction, or conduction. Now let us first discuss charging by friction. So charging by friction. Charging by friction is basically when electrons are transferred from one neutral object to another neutral object, okay, through contact. So here is an example. For example, let's say you have a piece of silk and a glass rod. And remember, a glass rod is basically an insulator, okay? So the piece of silk here is neutral, and as well as the glass rod. Electrons from the piece of silk will transfer to the glass rod, and resulting in the glass rod being negatively charged and the piece of silk being positively charged. And we know that they will attract because they are unlike charges. So here there are negative charges and positive charges, and here as well there are negative charges and positive charges. But then negative charges are transferred from the piece of silk to the glass rod, resulting in it being negative, okay? Now let us talk about charging by conduction. Charging by conduction is basically when a neutral conductor comes in contact with another charged object, and the neutral object obtains a certain charge of its own. Okay, so let's take an example of this neutral spherical conductor and negatively charged cylindrical rod. Now what is going to happen here is basically the neutral spherical conductor will steal from the electrons of the negatively charged cylindrical rod, and this will result in the spherical conductor to become negative, okay? So basically here the electrons are being transferred to the neutral spherical conductor, and this will result in the neutral spherical conductor to become charged, and this is charging by conduction. Lastly comes charging by induction. Charging by induction simply means when a neutral object is charged without actually coming in contact with another charged object. Now you might think, how is that possible? Okay, how is that possible? So here we have an example. Here you have two metal spheres, okay, and they are in contact, and they're both neutral. Basically, when they are both in contact, it's like it's one metal, okay, because they're both neutral. They both have the exact same charge, and they are in contact. Now, if you use a negatively charged insulator, for example, a glass rod, and put it beside these two spherical metals, nothing will nothing will basically happen. It's just that the electrons and the protons in these two metallic sphere or metal spheres are going to be rearranged. Okay, they're going to redistribute. Here, the protons are going to be on this side, so that glass the since the glass rod is negative, and the electrons will be on the right side. Now, if you split these two spheres after doing this, if you split these two spheres, metal spheres, you're going to see that the first sphere is now positively charged, and the second sphere is now negatively charged. Okay, so this we call induction. Here, the neutral objects are being uh, are are being charged without actually touching the the charged object. Here, the negatively charged object caused these two the electrons and the protons to separate. Okay, and then when we separated these two metal objects that were here, like you can just they're basically one metal piece. When you split them, they become charged because of this glass rod that changed the distribution of the protons and the electrons. So here we have a similar example. In part A, here we have a sphere that is neutral, okay? But since we put a rubber rod, a negatively rubber rod, which means it is a negative insulator, beside this neutral sphere, we see that the electrons and the protons redistribute. So the electrons will go to the right side, and the protons will go to the left side. Why? Because here that we have a negative rod that is not in contact with it, but beside of it or near it. And if we connect the sphere to the ground, or we grounded the sphere, basically, some of the electrons are going to be lost. Okay, and after some of the electrons are lost, if we remove them wire, we're going to be left off with a positively charged sphere. And when you remove the rubber rod, you will see that the electrons and the protons will evenly distribute throughout the sphere. Thank you for watching. Hope you understood something from what we covered in this video. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to leave them in the comment section down below, or email me at educology.help@gmail.com. You can access notes for this lesson in the description box down below. Thank you for watching, and hope you have a good day.